What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for Chasing Dallas Season 2, Episode 9. Here's the thing. I consider myself to be a pretty intelligent person. I mean, not the smartest motherfucker in the room, but I consider myself to be pretty intelligent. And I keep getting lost in these storylines, and it makes me question my comprehension skills. I sit here and I watch this episode, and once again, something was explained that still didn't make no damn sense when they got done explaining it. I am no longer discussing the fight, so we're gonna just cut that part out. We have this conversation with Ariel, Ricci, and Cain. They started last week. We finished it up this week, and they were talking about going to New Orleans. And we know that Dior and his family are not going for obvious reasons. So they asked if Antonio was going. And Ricci said no. And so then Ricci went on to describe why Antonio wasn't going. And it had something to do with, we know the whole thing that came up at George's situation where Antonio supposedly messed with George and with George's best friend. And then it was something about Antonio sent Ricci some texts saying, if you friends with me, why are you hanging out with my enemy? And Ricci was like, I don't know who your enemy is. And he was like, well, George in that situation. And Ricci was like, well, you know, it is what it is. I wasn't really hanging with your enemy per se. And then Antonio said something about pressing charges. And Ricci said press charges for what? And they never really explained what Antonio feels like he has a right to press charges about. Now, I'm not going to speak on what I think it is because I don't want my name in none of that. But it might go back to what Cain was saying in his first review. I don't know. But am I the only one that got lost in that? Y'all not seriously, because you know, it just be making me feel like I'm dumb sometimes. Like maybe my comprehension skills are not where I thought they were. But either way, Antonio ain't going to New Orleans, child. Then he lets Cain know that him and Markel. No, that's later on. Shit, forget it. That's later on. So. Then we have another scene that hurt my brain. And that was the scene with Womack and his mentor. Now, Womack, I like the whole T'Challa thing. Not T'Challa. Who was the character that on Black Panther that Michael B. Jordan played? T'Challa was Black Panther. Killmonger. I like the whole Killmonger wig thing you had going on, Tre. I thought that looked nice on you. I really did. But this scene confused the hell out of me too. So Tre starts off by saying, I never said I was the best tattoo artist in the world. I mean, I think my stuff is okay. But, I mean, I ain't saying I'm about to be on black ink or anything. And, I mean, but I've been doing tattoos for a long time. But, I mean, my mentor, he helped me get better. And I'm thinking to myself, if I was thinking about letting you do a tattoo on me, I have just changed my mind. Don't you, Tre Womack, listen, I don't know if you watch my reviews or not, because I ain't never seen you in my comments. But let me say this to you, Tre. Don't you never, ever be your own worst critic. And what I mean by that is, you can say, look, I can always get better. That's not the point I'm making. But that ain't what you said. You said, well, I ain't never said I was the best tattoo artist, and, I mean, I know I could be better, and, I mean, I like my stuff, but, I mean, you know, it's all right. It's all right. Say what? Especially since part of this argument last week or the fight was because they said that they never seen you do a tattoo, and you were insulted by it. Now you're going to sit here and say that, well, I ain't all that good. Because that's what that translated to me in my head when you said that. Well, I mean, I ain't all that good. That's like me. I'm an educator. That's like me saying, I mean, you know, I know how to throw up some stuff on a chalkboard, but I probably wouldn't let your kids take my class. It's better teachers in the school. Trey, don't you never, ever, and never be the one to say you are not good enough. I just couldn't believe he did that. Now, if your point that you were making is that you're a better piercer than you are a tattoo artist, then just say that. And that's okay. Because you can be good at two things at the same time, and you can have one that is your specialty or that you're better at than the other. But don't you never sit here and make it seem like you ain't. Anyway, I'm done. Then, so he wants to start his own piercing line. And at first, I was, and this was me being silly in my head. I was like, piercing line? Like, what you? But then I thought about it, and I was like, okay, I guess you can have different types of piercings, like different shapes and sizes, and maybe even, you know, like animals and letters and shit. I don't know. I guess you can get real, you know, fancy with that kind of stuff. And I thought about that because, you know, people who get nipple piercings or bars, and yeah, you can get all that cute stuff. So, okay, go for it, boo. You go for it. Then he had this whole conversation with his mentor. I guess I forgot what the man's name was. Child, I don't know, but he's straight. He's not gay, and so he said he called him the day after the fight, and he didn't answer, and then he called him back, and then they played phone tag, and then when the guy called him back, he had Jarrell on the phone, and Jarrell was the one that had the towel around his waist that was really like about it, that looked like he was really about to, you know, go 20 rounds with all of them. That was Jarrell. What I gather, because again, the music was a little loud. Tre Womack was mumbling when he was talking. So what I gathered from that conversation was, first of all, I didn't understand that comment. Well, he don't understand. You know, he's straight, and he don't understand what the protocol is when gays fight. What that mean? I mean, so tell me, what is the protocol, Womack? What is it that this man did that you felt like wasn't appropriate? Because I feel like that's what you were trying to say was, well, the way he handled it wasn't the way that we do things in the gay community. I didn't know there was a special way to make up. I didn't know there was a special way to address a problem just because you're gay versus being straight. I didn't know that. So I'm not even trying to be funny right now. Like, I really don't understand what you meant by he don't know how gays do things when they fight. I didn't know there was a different way of doing things. But he called Womack on a three-way with Jarrell on the phone, and I'm assuming to resolve the issue. But what he said was basically, when me and him were on the phone one-on-one, he had a whole lot to say. Because come to find out, he met all these people through Womack. So it seems like they were, you know, one thing, Dior interviewed with us on Yes Bitch TV's channel last night. And the one thing Dior said was that at one point in time, him and Womack were really good friends. And from this conversation, you can tell that they were, because this guy's his mentor, and he said he met Dior and Jarrell through Womack, and that they've known each other for a while, and that they're, you know, they're kind of cool. So I feel like that's the kind of stuff that friends do. I'm with you, I hang out with you, I meet you to my other friend, introduce you to my other friends, and we build friendships and all of that. So that added some validity to it. But then he was like, well, before I was on the phone with you, he had a whole lot to say, and he was talking all this trash. But then on the flip side, once you were on the phone, then he ain't had nothing to say. So there was no resolution? Are y'all cool again? Are y'all not cool? We got a chance to see King Cain style again. He styled for a rap group down in Dallas, and they're a gay rap group, and so we saw him styling for them. And once again, you know, he's excited because, you know, that's what he does, and that's what he wants to do. And he definitely wants to get more into like the celebrity clientele base and everything. So that was good to see. Amani Van Zap stood in her stuff. Basically, she was like, you don't have to like or agree with my take on the fight, but it is what it is, and I feel the way I felt, and you know, that was what it was. Again, I just feel like the person we blame is the person who swung first. I mean, she was like, well, they came ready to fight. They should have come ready to fight. Because what was told to them was that Tre Womack said, the next time I see you, I'm slapping the shit out of you. And they knew he was going to be there. They were supposed to come ready to fight. I mean, I'm sorry. But they did not throw the first punch. Whether they were ready to fight or not, they weren't the ones that threw the first punch. Tre Womack did what he said he was going to do. He punched. But still, he did it. Anyway, I'm not, like I said I wasn't going to talk no more about that fight, didn't I? I'm not. I'm done. Then we saw Ricci G do an interview for a podcast in the Dallas area. It was two young ladies. I forget the name of the podcast, but it was two young ladies. And they looked like they had a really, really good conversation. They talked to Ricci G about his book. He said they had done their due diligence and done their research on him, so they knew some things about him and his story. And Ricci invited George to come with them so they could just spend a little one-on-one time, get to know each other, and just kind of see each other in a different environment than always with a group setting. They had a good time. I feel like Ricci gave a good interview. The one thing they asked Ricci was, who on the show would you sleep with? Ricci said Tre Womack, which once again, ding, 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 ding. Go back to what Dior said about who was sleeping with who. Now, Ricci G and Womack might not be sleeping together, but there's clearly some flirtation going on. Because Ricci said that, that Tre could pull up to his bumper. Baby. He had a conversation with George and explained to George that him and Markel had made up. And George was like, well, did you get an apology? Because I feel like you owed one. I mean, he threw a chair at you. And as a matter of fact, he kind of owes me an apology because he did that at my house. He sort of disrespected my house. And Ricci said, well, we're friends. And I don't feel like, we're friends. You need to explicitly say, I am sorry. But, we made up. He said, I feel like we're in a good place. I saw him at the lingerie party. And I feel like we're in a good place. So, of course, George was like, oh, the lingerie party I wasn't invited to. And Ricci was like, well, yeah, that one. He talked about the fight, and George was like, Dior just don't come off as a fighter to me. Not that Dior can't fight, but that's not Dior's personality, to fight first, ask questions later kind of thing. But he wasn't there. He was, it wasn't a whole lot he could say. He wasn't there. And then we found out that he is going to go to New Orleans. So that's where we're going to pick up next week. That's it. That's all I got. Y'all tell me, because, again, the question, it be... All right. Y'all let me know. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.